p.m. You can check them out here on Ironic Radio Network, 8-Bit Bros. That's number 8. Then bit. Then bros. One word. I strongly encourage you to stay tuned for that. And if you want, they also have a Facebook page and a much better live show. Anyway, 8-Bit Bros, 8 p.m., Ironic Radio Network.
It's 8 o'clock, and you know what that means.
Oh, what up, people? Welcome back to another episode of the 8-Bit Bros. It is Tuesday, a.k.a.
Early edition.
the early edition.
Early edition.
Shut your pie hole over there.
Early edition.
We got a great show planned for you tonight. It's going to be a quickie tonight, I think.
Yep.
With that being said, not a kid-friendly show. Adult language, adult content. Do the right thing, people. Put your kids in the closet.
Yeah.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything.
What are you, crazy?
That could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah, for the people in their cars.
Oh, how do you like that, buddy? How's that feel?
Oh, God.
How's that feel? Oh, how do you like that, buddy? How's that feel?
Oh, God.
How's that feel?
I'm listening to 8-Bit Bros.
8-Bit Bros Tuesday. Center box gets a square.
What
Yeah.
up, people?
Oh, it is. That's Ren over there. To the left, me, Web Boy. To the right. To the right. 846 miles south. The one and only Thumping Loud. Yeah, what up, gentlemen?
What's going on?
Yeah, I'm sure J7 will be around soon. Or not.
Maybe.
Later. Or not. But
Then she'll be upset when we're cutting out early.
Yeah. And then miss the conversations that the two things I want to start off with tonight. It's kind of like elephant in the room, but not really, but kind of is. Thump, what the fuck's what? Oh, I lost my mic. What is going on in Washington?
What are you talking about?
Redskins, or the football team who shall not be named.
What about it? What do you mean, what's going on?
Got rid of the quarterback finally.
So, which point? Like,
Who-
really? I mean, well, hold on. We got rid of a guy who was injured dramatically that
Yeah,
we
but-
paid for. We paid for 2 years of inactivity
Yeah,
and had a regime change while he was injured.
31 million.
And when he came back, the injury that he had suffered previously, though this not related, became a nagging issue.
Oh yeah. He was having. I mean, the leg is chewed up.
So, there's that, and so moving on from him is not
Well, my bigger question
is not
is-
an unimaginable thing.
My bigger question here is, in my opinion, and we talked about this many a times, the Washington Redskins, I called it as what? Division winner. Skins, division winner. Cowboys still suck. Giants are horrible. And whoever else is in that league is just pitiful also. The green team that won't be named. I still think the Redskins are the number one team coming out of the division. What are you doing about a quarterback?
Right now, we have
He's not the guy.
we
know
have
that.
Taylor. We have Taylor going into
that's-
next year. We have Kyle Allen going into next year.
Yeah.
We're still in the process of a rebranding, so there's a chance that you see the new quarterback maybe not come until the new name.
Okay.
Wait a year, play this next one out, and see what we got. Or you may see us make a move in the draft to possibly grab a quarterback, which one
Okay,
will be
so-
readily available. But what we're really looking at is more so another wide receiver to give McLaurin
Yep.
some
Yep.
space.
Hell yeah, running back.
We're happy with the running back.
That's tough with the names that have dropped. That's tough. I mean, yeah, the running back's good. Still think you need a third down back.
Yeah, but right now we're not in a stress position of needing that. We need an offensive line that's going to be able to help us out a little bit, and we need a wide receiver that's going to be able to complement Terry McLaurin over there on that side. So when it really comes down to it, I mean, our moves are position players, offensive side.
I like the idea of the wide receiver. You're thinking just like I am. I like McLaurin. I think he's fucking phenomenal, and I think he's got a few years ahead of him. He needs another set of hands to complement them. There's no doubt about that. There is no doubt about that.
Yeah, and we're in a position where we could take a veteran at this point and add to the team, find a good speed veteran, somebody to maybe stretch the field out a little bit. That could work.
Might be available.
But something like that could work, or even like addressing more of the tight end position. Even though we're kind of happy where we're at tight end, we could do better.
Yeah, who is the tight end? I can't remember offhand.
We're not.
I did my research on that.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I ask is because I know our favorite one of our favorite fantasy guys just hit the market. Right, Ren? Kyle Rudolph.
Oh God. Good riddance.
Yeah, right. For the Vikings, at least. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
but now he's going to go someplace and ends up being like the superstar H back and.
Yeah, the Jets. That's the only place to be a superstar H back with his track record and credentials over the last 4 years. 4, 3 to be nice. 3 to be nice. Yeah. Yeah, I was curious your thoughts on. Okay, so let's play.
Okay, hold on. I know what you were. I think I know what you were kind of also trying to get at when you brought up the Alex Smith exit situation and the fact that there has been a rumor floating around about the reuniting of Cam and Ron.
A little bit. I would rather. See
It's a very heavy conversation that's being had.
I don't like the idea
around the interwebs.
Yeah, I don't like the idea. I mean,
it works in Cam's situation, and it works for the team situation. Like I said, even if we only bring him in for a year, because with the,
I'd rather go for Bridgewater.
I don't know about that Bridgewater deal. I don't know how that's going to work out, because you see him being floated around in so many different trades. I mean, wasn't he just part of a 4-way trade idea to get Russell Wilson somewhere else, and then somehow Bridgewater ends up in San Francisco, was it, or something like that?
Did you see where fucking Russell Wilson said he would go? He would drop his no trade for the 4 teams, the 4 final teams.
No, I didn't really pay him much attention. I mean, New Orleans would make the best fit, because it would be plug and play for Sean Payton. Yeah. He could easily go with that another, smaller quarterback with the passing ability and all that stuff. It would work good if they could maintain other parts of the organization, and I think that's going to be more of an issue.
That's you're exactly right there. That's his. I don't want to say his number one, but it's one of the top teams. Saints.
Well, it makes the most sense. I mean,
Dallas Cowboys.
That doesn't make any sense at all. Because I don't think there's anybody down there with the ability to coach.
The Raiders.
That would be cool.
Raiders are on his list too. I can't remember who the.
That would be cool. I could see the Raiders. Dallas only for just the recognition of being a Dallas Cowboy and the pride in the league that a lot of players have with becoming a member of the Star. I mean, it's a thing. I get it. Even though I'm a Washington fan, I kind of understand how the allure of that franchise works.
No, you're absolutely right. I totally agree.
It's what it got Amari Cooper there.
Yeah,
I mean,
on the Star. Yeah, I get that. I totally understand that. The other 2 teams that were originally on his first choice lists, and I found this to be interesting because I read this at the bar while I was hanging out with all of us who represented one of these teams, except for the Raiders. Originally, it was Saints, Miami Dolphins, the Raiders, and the Jets.
I wonder why I'd want to put Tua out of the way to go in Miami. Because that's problematic on the level of they are moving on from a veteran quarterback to
Yeah.
give their new guy the chance. And then for him to basically just throw doubt at the organization
Yeah.
by saying he would come there, it's like, whoa, what? You're trying to say that this
Well,
guy doesn't need to be their quarterback?
two of the
That they
reasons.
could do better, and you
Sorry.
should be that guy? Like, I mean, it was kind of that shade was a little
Weird.
rough. Like with the rest of the other teams that you're looking at, there's guys that have been at these locations,
Yeah. Yeah.
where the trade to New Orleans would have moved Taysom Hill somewhere else.
Possibly. Yeah.
Like that was the idea. The four-way
Yep.
trade was the 49ers, the Saints, the
Bears.
Panthers, and Seattle all in a four-way trade, moving some guys around. And
It- One of his reasonings for the Miami and the Jets, same reason for both, was the ability of their trade, not their trade, their draft positions, and the number of draft choices. He felt he could help bring in a team.
okay, so he's wanting in that aspect, he'd be wanting to go in and be very influential in the selections that were being made.
Yes, and then of course, I mean, if you're talking the Saints and the Raiders or any other, those are plug and play teams, both of them, in my opinion. Just like you said, going to the Saints is just like doing.
Well, I think the Raiders
it's the
works
same
because
Raiders.
not for anything. I mean, Gruden's still a hell of a coach. Like
Oh, yeah.
Oakland or formerly Oakland, the Raiders are going to be fine as this project continues to go along
Yes.
with what they've decided to do there. So,
Change the plan.
yeah, it's going to be okay there. We knew Carr necessarily wasn't the quarterback, and we also knew Chucky wasn't having none of that shit anyway. Even though he goes, "Oh, David Carr, you're a good quarterback, good quarterback," but
Yeah.
then he turns around and you see that it's like that's not his guy. It's like, yeah, he's a good quarterback, but that's not my guy.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. So let's play the scenario with the Redskins that we stick with one of the quarterbacks that we currently have on this roster, and you go other places for the positions you need. Wide
Right.
receiver,
Left tackle.
Who do you think's got the best chance of coming out of there as the starting quarterback? Do you think it's Tyrod, or do you think it's
Who?
not Ty? Did I say Tyrod Taylor?
Taylor or Allen?
Yeah, because I don't.
I mean,
I mean, Hankey's a great quarterback. You know, he's played 4 games in 6 years, and
the
set his
fact of the
backup to a backup league.
well, that's why they're talking about Cam Newton too, is because these two quarterbacks, this Cam Newton would be the third quarterback in this quarterback room of what he had at Carolina.
Yeah.
And it brings him back with Ron and the other coach, GM. Like, this puts him in a building that he'd be very familiar with. That's why they keep talking about it as such a big thing. But, I mean, yeah. I mean, if he's getting this opportunity on this contract that they gave him, this little 2-year, $8 million contract, I mean, it's an opportunity for him to really prove himself. And, I mean, he played with serious guts in the, in the playoff game that he played. And if he brings that same kind of drive and mentality to it now that he's got the opportunity to play, then yeah, he could easily beat Allen for the job. Allen wasn't very impressive in the offense at the start of the season, Haskins couldn't get it, and Allen wasn't getting it. Like, it was just like they just didn't seem to fit with the rest of the players. And I think Heineke, because of what he did in the playoff game, because the people he's got in that organization that are behind him, then yeah, I think it's easy for him to have success. I mean, you look at the fact that he's got considerably the number one defensive player already is like, this is my dude on the other side of the ball. Like, this is my guy. This is, he's like, this guy fits our team, and he made him a figurehead in that aspect, and when you've got a defense that's willing to, I mean, Tom Brady's had it several times over. When you got a defense that's willing to fight for your quarterback, then yeah, that starting position's pretty wrapped up, you know? Like, you have to get hurt in order for that to be taken away, and I think that's kind of where Taylor's at right now. I mean, the fan base was really big on it, you know? I mean, and it's weird and a loss to see our fan base rally behind somebody, period, you know?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, it's easy to see him starting next season. It's
Yeah.
easy
Okay.
to see us make a move for left tackle. There
He
is
got
that
tackled.
rumor that we could see Trent come back.
Trent Williams.
Yeah,
Well, he's
because they didn't seem to really like. They brought him out there on the 1 year deal, and they really haven't revisited the idea of extending it. Like, so it's a conversation that's being had in San Francisco, but it's not really a topic that a lot of people are talking about. So it causes a little bit of doubt on whether or not some deal will get done with him over there for an extension, and it may put him back out on the market where, you know, if they decide that they don't want him, why not come home?
That's a good point, and he's proven he can play
Right.
after all this shit. So that's all behind him.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong,
Yeah, I
but-
mean, he was pretty decent last year for them, you know, and it's in their situation. It's, you know, what are they doing at quarterback is what's I think bigger on the platter, because they are putting the Williams deal kind of on the back burner until they figure out what is really going to happen moving forward with Garoppolo. I mean, Lynch said that the reason they wanted Bridgewater was that's their guy. Garoppolo's their guy. But
Well, yeah,
they need to have a better backup in position because of what you saw last year.
Agreed.
And that's exactly how he put it. He was like, the reason we wanted to make the move is because we need to have a depth chart that's better.
Yeah.
So, you know, what does that look like on the money to try and secure a Trent Williams that's like, I showed you I could play?
It's a good point. I mean, the team is only really 3 or 4 position players away from a 10-plus win season, in my opinion, especially in that division.
Yeah.
You can easily grab 5 wins out of that division. Easily. I mean, beating the Cowboys is no big deal. Beating the Giants is no big deal. The Eagles put up a harder fight than the Cowboys do.
I can't wait to see. I'm interested in seeing what happens with the Cowboys during this offseason, like how they decide to start the year. Because if they franchise tag Dak, that's something. If they do anything different with Dak, like just anything, like if you don't pay him, like it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with Dak and the Cowboys. So, and that's a big shakeup. Like to put, I mean, he's got talent, good arm talent. So to put him out on a free agency market, he's gonna shake some things up. You know, Deshaun looks different with Dak on the market. When you measure those guys, that you know Deshaun wants to be on the market, but Dak just wants the contract. And if Dak can't get it in Dallas, Dak's going to be on the market too. And that drops Watson's value a lot.
I think Watson will find a home.
Oh, I guarantee he's going to find a home. I mean, what about J.J. settling into Arizona? Now, do you think that he?
Next question.
That was interesting. That was one. I mean, I knew he was. I knew that was on the list for him.
You
I
realize?
just really didn't think.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I honestly thought it was like at the bottom of the list. Like I would have thought like
You heard they were the most
Cleveland
money.
or Buffalo or I mean even Green Bay. I was having a hard time trying to figure out where he'd fit into the D line.
Most
Smith
money, Arizona. Most money.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're
I want to point out the fact that we know the offers across the board, most money.
and they just,
If this is Houston, I will always love you. JJ's going to get a paycheck. I'm out.
not only that.
Is
though,
it that JJ we just saw because most money,
No, not at
or
all.
is he going to really try and put Arizona at the end of the playoffs?
Time out, people.
I'm sorry.
Time
I
out,
think it's going to take a little bit more than JJ Watt to get there.
Time out, people. You're that just became one of the top defenses in the league.
Yes.
They have two guys with over 90 fucking sacks apiece.
Yeah, like if you
On the
really
left
start to look
and
at
the
Arizona,
right.
they're in a position right now that JJ may be the one piece they needed to let them do everything else they're going to do.
They just became a stellar fucking defense on the line. They can attack from the left and right with two guys who have 90 plus sacks. 90 plus from the left and right. Good luck with that defense.
Well, one thing you need to keep into consideration is, can JJ stay healthy?
Well,
Look at
that's a good
his-
point. Hasn't played a
Look
full
at his history over the past 5 years.
Hasn't
The
played
man
a
has
full
not stayed
season
healthy.
since 2016.
Exactly.
I get that. His best season was like 2 years ago at 15 games. Over that 5-year or 5-year span or whatever it is since 2016. But the defense just became fucking top notch.
I mean, everyone said the same thing about Houston's defense when it was him and Clowney.
Yeah, well,
It really never panned out to be
no,
that.
Clowney's a
Yeah, but it was Clowney was the weak link on that one for whatever that was down there, and it showed when he went to Seattle and still wasn't able to really kindle what people thought his career was going to be. Like Clowney unfortunately became the
clown.
weaker
joke.
link of that conversation.
Same thing with Manti Te'o. Oh, it's fucking phenomenal. It's gonna be a great player. Where is he now? I think he got cut from the Saints.
I don't know. He may still be playing.
I think he got cut from the Saints. I'm not sure. I have no idea offhand, but I mean, there's been a lot of great names that you just look at and you're like, oh, okay. Who's on your team? Fucking Ren? Who's the big guy they picked up? Big name?
Green Bay.
Yeah.
I thought all they did was get rid of Clay Matthews.
I don't understand how you do that, but
Yeah, they offloaded Clay Matthews and they picked up the Smith brothers,
there's some
Zadarius Smith and
Jadarius.
yeah, something like that, Jadarius Smith.
Yeah, whatever their names are. You had somebody else big on that team last year. It was a waste. Another one of those big names that just doesn't pan out to be anything. I like the J.J. Watt move. I think it's a good move for fucking St. Louis or the Cardinals, wherever they play now.
I was
Is
like,
that-
that's
no?
a baseball team.
Yeah, I know. Well, they used to play there. Good luck, Kyle Rudolph, wherever the fuck you go. I don't really.
I mean, he'll get a job. That's the tight end market right now is open enough that he'll find a space. Like that's not a real big issue.
I guess. I could think of, or at least name 10 better tight ends than.
You can name 10 better tight ends, but they're not moving.
No, that's true.
And
That's true. Is that? Yeah, look, there she comes in. J7 in the house.
I'm sorry. I always thought that was a really funny position.
What, tight end?
Tight end?
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, if I were a football player, I want that to be my position. What's my position? I'm a tight end, bitch. That's right.
I mean, that's a whole different perspective on football I have to address that with, but
Does that have to go on the is it gay list?
that would definitely lean into the is it gay list, yes. Like, if you felt that way at that position, there would be question about, well, I don't know. I mean, do you find yourself
Tight
having
end?
tendency?
Well, having a tight end is good, regardless of how you identify.
Yes, but you're...
Walk away from this conversation right now.
I went with your level of flaunt to the position, and I was like, I don't know, that's a little flamboyant. I think that if a football player did that, you would ask questions.
I don't know.
You'd be like, so are you? And if he said no, you would probably be shocked.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
It's like the house repair people guys that
Oh.
are very over the top metro, and their wives are like supermodels, and you're like, this has got to be fake.
Yeah,
Because you just don't
Yeah.
believe it. It's like one of those things. It's like, look, he's gay. He just needs to admit it.
yeah. Exactly.
Right. He's just not ready. He's not
Yeah,
ready
there's
to
like
know.
something going on
Yeah.
there. So there's like, you would ask questions. It's like, are you sure?
Are you
'Cause
talking
I'm
about
not so
the
sure.
twins, Stump?
What?
Are you talking about the twins? Was that like zombie house flipper or something like that?
I don't know. I don't even know. I just know there's a couple very metro guys that are married to women that do house hunting repair shows. Like
Yeah.
my girl watches the house hunting repair
Mhm.
shows. So
So
occasionally you walk by and you go, wait, that's his wife?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a Saturday morning thing.
Not what
on,
I
like, the
expected. I
Learning
expected to be
Channel or
meeting his
something.
husband and, not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've encountered quite a few of. I know exactly what the kind of guy you mean. It's like,
Yeah. Like
he's
not
very
in
much
any way put
into-
off by the entire subject or conversation of it all. It's just, that's different. I wouldn't have expected it to be this way. All right, moving on.
Yeah.
Right.
Know,
Yeah.
like what? Okay, sure. I don't know.
So now
Well, as long as it doesn't make you uncomfortable, I don't think it should make you uncomfortable.
No, it doesn't make me uncomfortable. It's just I have questions. It did, like, is
That's
having the
prompt.
questions uncomfortable? Is that more uncomfortable for the person who's got to answer them, or like,
I guess.
am
it
I not
puts them
allowed
on
to ask the
spot.
question?
I guess not. Like, unless you're interested, unless you're asking for the purposes of, do you want to go have a drink? Then not really. It's kind of rude,
Okay.
I would say.
What? Right. That's why I'm like, but you have the question rolls over though, because you're curious,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Yeah, that's true. Like, you're curious in your brain.
Yeah.
But you don't.
But
come
you
out
need
and
to
be
leave
like,
it there.
Hey,
Hey, guy, I got a question.
what's this?
I got a question for you.
Um.
What percentage of the population do you represent?
Right.
watch out. Depends on what kind of group you can get lumped into now.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking everything grows exponentially every day now. You can't figure shit out.
Well,
We
we
got
know
Jason-
we know Webb's boat riding, flag toting, Patriot Party member. So
I'm a rootin' tootin' cowboy. I follow no party lines, bro. I'm all about me.
no, we're
I'm all-
talking about getting lumped into groups. I mean,
If it's good for me, I'm with the me group. Okay, I don't care if it's me two or you two or whatever fucking two you want to put to it. But if it's good for me, I'm down. Totally down. Which raises the question now that J7's here. This was a part 2 of my elephant in the room. We need to bring up, touch on, or discuss in some way, shape, or form the Cuomo situation.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Did the third one come out today? Did I read?
Yes,
third
the third one came out today at a wedding, and
Yes.
there's a photo of him with his hands on her face.
Oh yeah. But that picture was taken after he had his hands on her bottom drop backless dress, where she removed it. The hands on the face is right before he moved in for the kiss, allegedly.
Hey, the way I said it to the lady today, Cuomo will tender his resignation within 2 weeks.
No fucking way. He don't go down without a fight. You gotta remember they gave him an Emmy. They gave him an Emmy for his fucking broadcasting during the coronavirus.
Yeah, you know what? I think
Fucking
it's
Emmy.
tricky. It's tricky because
Say it twice, just like the song. Thank you. I like that. Yeah, yeah, it's
Uh,
Tricky.
because like
Tricky now.
it's tricky. Okay,
Go ahead.
so
Sorry, distract.
and here we all go off on this one.
Squirrel. But no, go ahead, J7. I don't want you to lose track.
yeah, it's tricky because like literally 6 months ago, everybody was like, Cuomo.
For president.
Yes!
But it's okay. You got a kid sniffer in the presidency now anyway.
Hey,
And a woman toucher.
I
and-
want to have a slight rebuttal to that moment. Everybody was not. Remember, I'm the guy at the very beginning of it all who was like, "Fuck this dude. Fuck this dude. He's fake as fuck. Fuck this dude. There's something. This dude is full of shit and himself."
Uh-huh.
And I called it right off the rip. I was the one who stood up here on the podium and was like, "Fuck that dude. No."
I just don't understand where dudes
What up, Cam?
get off on using their power to intimidate people, especially elected people like this situation. Look, you've seen this. Okay, so it's Cuomo, but it's Cosby. It's what is the deal with people who are in power feel like they got to use that to abuse littler people?
I don't know.
It's the
I think
influence
it's
of power that they seem
it's-
to have. It seems to be a historical trend
yeah,
that
and
when people have control, especially in any situation where it can be over other people, they will abuse that privilege.
Yes, yeah.
And it seems to
that.
be across the spectrum.
Yes.
Like we've seen actors, politicians, musicians, like
yeah.
Male,
anybody.
female, like it's
Yeah, like
more. I mean, it's
people
been highlighted more male, but we have seen females
definitely, yeah,
in the process.
definitely,
We've
yeah.
seen that as well.
We've all been in a position like that, some sort of position of power where you're looked up to. That Thump's the man. I gotta chill with him. I gotta be with him. I don't think Thump would ever fucking take advantage of somebody because he's the man at that point in time. Like I've been in those situations when I was DJing in New York City. Everybody looked up to the DJ. The DJ was the man, and I had a very big following and reputation to go along with it. But never in my life would I like think about trying to take advantage of somebody who was, just wanted to chill with the DJ.
No, but also
I would never.
if you
I would.
did, there would be like you had okay, so you had a certain amount of power in that situation.
In that situation,
But-
it's not as grand scale as this, but
Yeah.
still, it's the same though. When you think about it, it's the same.
Yeah.
You the DJ. The DJ's the man. I know DJ Casanova. I chilled with him last night. That dude's cranking out all over New York City. He's fucking great.
Yeah. Mhm.
But I would never
Yeah.
have a groupie or chick come up and be like, yeah, hey, why don't you get onto the DJ booth and suck my dick? No, I wouldn't do that.
Well, here's the other thing. People get away with it.
Maybe if I was the president of the United States, I'd do that.
People get away with it though.
Sure.
Like,
Well,
for
see,
the longest time,
Yeah.
people would get away with it, and it's not until like Cosby, for example. That's just one example. It's
Well-
not until things change on a fundamental scale, like on a larger scale, that people feel comfortable coming out and saying, by the way, 10 years ago, this dude drugged me and I woke up naked. Like it takes I think that part of it is the fact that there is something about the way that our culture is structured that discourages you from coming forward and saying that the person that was in power or the person that had power over you at this certain period in time did something to you.
Right.
It kind of places the blame on you for allowing this to happen, for
Yeah, but
allowing yourself
what
to be
about the other part of the
drugged.
coin where Webb, you particularly brought up groupies that
Sure.
would come up? Well, you wouldn't go, "Hey, girl, get down underneath the table and do this." In
Yeah.
a groupie situation, the groupie comes up and goes,
I wanna
"Hey,
do
do
that."
you want me to get under the? You mind if I get
Yeah.
under the table and do this?"
I've been in that situation.
You know, so there's the rock star groupie, and even in a lot of these, every Hollywood groupie, movie star groupies, like there are these people in all of these categories that are the other side of the coin that
Yeah.
make that conversation even harder to have because they can be referenced and just thrown into that category. Oh, it's just a groupie. All that was consensual. She's actually the one that showed up here trying to do things, and that was a common dismissal of items for being in areas where people of power existed. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you put yourself there, and you made the choice to do, and it was you that was doing everything, and that's where, like she said, the culture has to take a, a long, abrupt change to recognize that those two people were both there,
Mm-hmm.
but this person didn't want to be a part of that extreme scenario.
Right. And
Yeah.
there's also the question of, I don't know if you guys have heard, there's some YouTube drama going on right now with
With
James
James
Charles.
Charles, supposedly
Okay.
a 16-year-old, and
Yeah. Well, in that situation,
he's a
it
groomer.
was, well, he didn't know apparently. Apparently
Well, according to
somebody,
all press release currently from his camp, that he was unaware. He had asked
right.
several times. This guy was 18. I'm not going to say apparently he was unaware. I'm gonna. You got two people talking. This guy's saying this right now. It's a he said, she said of a
Right.
situation. This guy's saying he said he was 16, and all I'm asking out of the scenario, from what I've heard so far, is this person has documentation stating that they said they were 16 in a conversation with James Charles. We do not have the opposite of the situation where James Charles has the documentation stating that he expressed discomfort with the way this situation was, or expressed any disinterest in the situation. The fact of the matter is a position of power, the one thing these people haven't had to do at any point was ever materialize truth. They could dismiss people and walk away.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now, we're their cockiness in these situations, and I'm not a fan of James Charles, if you can tell. But the cockiness of these situations where they're like, "What? This didn't happen." It's like the burden of proof is now on you to prove that it didn't, because right now they're saying that it did, and there's proof, and they're
Yeah.
saying
I
these
mean,
conversations took place. You've got the same documentation that he does. Where is your visual
like,
representation of you going, "No, this is not okay with me"?
Yeah.
or, which is, I believe is what he said, which is, I asked how old he was, and he
Right?
told me he was,
Yeah.
legal age.
Where is that?
Yeah, I don't know where that is. But my larger point is, there's a larger ethics question, which is, if you find yourself in a position of power and somebody says something like, hey, is it okay if I, like, you as the person with the power in the situation should view yourself as the one with the ethical responsibility
Right.
to vet this, right? Like, we already live in a world where we have these parasocial kind of relationships happening,
Right.
where, YouTube, to continue with that, has made it really easy for you to feel like you know these people, right? And I see you every day and I watch all your videos. I think it's the same
Twitch.
with someone. Yeah. It's the same with someone like Cuomo. He was on TV every single day during the pandemic, and he was the only person, from my perspective, who was making sense to me at the time. I was like, what is all this insanity, and what are we gonna do? And every day he was, putting up updates, and he was making jokes, and I enjoyed it,
How do you
right?
feel
So,
about
and
lying straight to your face for 9 months?
it fucking sucks, But
Nine
like,
months of lying directly to his constituents, directly to their face, every day on television.
but think of, so
Wait,
there's
what's the
the
lie?
Everything he fucking said, everything, all his fucking cover up, nursing home deaths, the elderly deaths, the every fucking thing.
well,
Every,
no, no, no,
So
wait a
so
minute, wait. So
so
that's
for
two separate.
9 months he was allowed to get on TV and lie.
sure.
You're so that's not
No, no, no,
entirely
no.
his fault.
That's
No,
not.
it's not. It's not
So
entirely his fault.
wait. These are two
I agree with
separate things.
Yes, these are
The
definitely two
nursing
separate things.
home, yeah, the nursing home thing is, investigating now because they're saying that they may have covered up by about 50% the number of nursing home deaths. So it's good that they're looking into that. But I'm talking about like the ethical consideration of like
okay.
someone using their power,
Sure.
and in an irresponsible way, right? Like even in the groupie situation you described, even on YouTube, like you have this parasocial
Oh, yes.
relationship with people,
Sure.
and you need to be aware of that, I think, and you need to know that people will feel like they have this closeness to you and say, "Hey, do you want me to do this?" Whereas you are just sitting there, like, "Sure, I would actually not mind that at all. I guess if you're of age and you're saying you want to, but you're not equals in this situation, right?"
Right. That's what I was saying about the James Charles situation. He
Yeah.
should be aware of
Right.
that scenario. And if and especially as a social influencer of the modern age as he is, should have this documentation stating he should have these contingencies in place when dealing with the broader range of public that he does on his ethical etiquette
Mm-hmm.
with how to deal with individuals,
Right.
because
Right.
he is going to be held to a higher regard. I mean, you hear JRE talk about it. You hear
Yep.
the Joe Rogan podcast, and he talks about like when he first started making the show to now, like he's still a high shit talking idiot that is a comedian. Like, don't forget that is what he wants you to remember. But he also understands that because of the number of people who tune into the show and the number of people who listen, that he has to, outside of that scenario, hold himself to a much higher regard where he doesn't go places and be shitty towards anybody. He's always on a good level and positive and does, like, at the store, and he knows that he's got to distance himself from certain people who are just not in the networks of people he needs to be in. Like, he knows all the problem outside of the bubble and how to maintain that bubble and interact with the public as a stand-up comedian at the same time. Like, there are measures that have to be taken in understanding your celebrity, whether it's the celebrity of a politician or a movie star or a musician or sports personality, or and it, more of these older generation of famous just thought they could do whatever the fuck they wanted to.
Right.
And Cuomo finds himself in a situation of being a politician. He's been around for a little bit and has gotten himself into some pretty high parties, and thought he was all right.
Yeah, and I mean the crazy stuff that keeps coming out, right? Like it's one person that comes out, and then the floodgates open.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's third now.
And then somebody's like, yeah, actually, on the nursing room deaths thing, like I actually came to him and I said this is what was happening, and he was like, no, let's not say this. Let's say this other thing. And apparently he has like a do not yell list where there are people that he absolutely shouldn't yell at, and I guess everybody else is fair game. Like, what? What? Like,
I mean, I don't understand having to write that list down, but I do have an understanding of the yell and do not yell list.
Yeah.
Like you do,
yeah.
too.
I mean, I do have a do not. I don't have a do not yell list. I try not to yell at anybody unless I'm like insulted in some way, like.
So your do not yell list fluctuates on the other person's actions purely?
My do not yell list is entirely dependent on how I'm being treated at the moment. If somebody's being disrespectful, or if I feel like I need to raise my voice to make my point, then I will yell. There's not a person that I absolutely will not yell at.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get on her bad side. Yeah, no, but I know what you're saying. I did.
I won't
There's-
yell at a cop.
There's certain people I can yell to,
I have yelled at cops.
and there are certain people I can yell at, and then there's others that'll just cry if you yell at them, so you can't yell at them.
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't yell at them. I try and keep those moments as casually and calm as possible, even when shit's going awry. I always feel that like anytime I see a person with a gun, it's generally best to just kind of keep the situation as level as possible.
Yeah, you don't want to yell at them. That could incite a riot and
Like
false-
that's anytime I deal with
Like
any person
flag.
with a gun. Like
False
it's
flag.
it's something about I deal with the gun. I guess is what it is. My
Yeah.
conversation is always casual around a gun. I do not yell at people possessing weapons. That's it.
Yeah. It's never a good thing. Doesn't ever think there's going to be a good outcome of that. I don't.
Oh
Think so.
my god.
I don't think so. How excited were we for the drop down launch and all the photos coming back from Mars now? The video of that fucking thing landing was cool as shit.
That is cool.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 4K photos.
I'll
that
tell you what, the best part of that entire thing was, yes, all the stuff that's coming back now is super cool, but the human element that day was just outstanding.
Yes.
Like you could tell with like you watched it, Webb. I don't know if anybody
Yep.
else watched it, but the one guy they had mic'd up while it was all happening, and every time you, yes,
Mm.
come on.
We've made it to
Yes.
phase 3. Yes. Yes.
Like
Everything's
just the
going to plan
human
now.
element and seeing the camera of the people in the room and like everyone looking around going, one more thing, and then all of a sudden we have notification of touchdown.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And the
yeah.
Entire room
Tears.
exploding.
Makes you.
I mean,
you teared up. You welled up. There's no doubt.
you
I
had
did.
to.
I did.
You had to.
It
Yeah,
was
I
like
mean, it
watching
was a very, very
movie
proud moment.
Independence Day. You
Yeah,
know those few
absolutely.
scenes in Independence Day where you just like fuck yeah.
The speech.
Yeah.
The speech from
the
Independence Day,
speech.
by far one of the
Oh,
best
yeah.
movie speeches ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better than
It means
Ben-Hur.
It means the PR department for space exploration is doing their job incredibly well and getting the people hype about space exploration again.
Yeah.
Tell the human story. It's what made Challenger so
Yep.
like why there were so many people watching that day that it happened. Like is because people were enthralled with the idea of space exploration.
Mhm.
And they turned the human story. They gave you the teacher, first civilian in space. Like they made the story. It was amazing, and that's in order to fund this. And the reason we hadn't been back to the moon in forever was because people just weren't interested in rockets and going to space. Like even though NASA was still doing little shit here and there, nobody cared.
Do you think we'll see interstellar travel in our lifetime?
Only if what they say is true about the fact that you make it to, I don't remember what year it is, but if you make it to this year in your lifetime, if you make it to this year, that you may find yourself almost immortal because there's enough medical knowledge that they're saying is available that once it's readily available, that the human lifespan is going to change dramatically because of
Whoa.
medical yeah, and so that's one end of the science that you look at, and I think it's like 2030 or something like that. If you make it to like 2030 or 2035, maybe even 2040, that there's a probability of seeing a major expanse to the human lifespan, because if they can virtually replace anything and everything and treat you with stem cells to get rid of like all of the aging woes and like the mental breakdown and all that other stuff, like you could essentially just perpetuate this vessel all by itself, like just to continue.
What?
Yeah,
I'm
the
so
ideas
excited about that.
are there, and
That's part of
the science is there.
That's part of Moose chip implementation.
Right, it's part of
Yeah.
Elon's chip implementation
Yeah.
too that will help govern some of that ability.
As far as interstellar space travel, 2035 is the check date on the calendar that we're supposed to be ready to go to Mars? Humans.
2035.
Possibly,
2035.
yeah.
Yeah. That's the
As
that's
as
game plan.
long as 10,
Everything.
11, and 12 work the way they're supposed to.
Yeah. How did 10 go off? I missed it. Did it go off?
I did
I don't know.
not.
I know it was supposed to launch, and then it was the weekend, and everybody's working for the
Yeah,
weekend.
see, all I saw was that they were painting the landing zone and what is it, Boca Chica.
Yes.
So I was watching a little bit of that and seeing some videos and stuff, but I never saw the launch or heard anything. I've got so used to just kind of catching the afterthought where they go, "All right, so here's how it landed this time." Because
Yeah.
I think the way it takes off and the way it comes back down is amazing.
Oh fuck yeah!
I love Starship. That
The
is
way
my
that thing
favorite,
flatlines and it just
favorite,
sits on its belly.
favorite of
Yeah.
all. Like, I can't imagine that rocket. Like, I don't understand why nobody did this earlier. Like, it's so crazy to watch what this thing does.
Yeah.
When it goes up and it belly flops and glides back in, and then it stands up and goes, "All right, let's land." And you're like, "Bullshit. Bullshit, you just did that. You're a rocket. You don't do that." And it's like, "No, I do that." It's like fucking
Part robot.
crazy.
It's not just a-
I never got a bigger thrill in my life than watching that happen the first time in real life where it bellied out and then straightened back. When it straightened back up, my mind was blown. I'm like,
Look,
bullshit.
it's like the first time he fucking caught a rocket in a net in the wide open ocean.
Yeah.
First off, how? What kind of telemetry data are you getting to the millisecond? To
That's
make that
that's some
happen,
mad
first off?
mathematicians. That's some mad mathematicians fucking
And
working
secondly,
OT.
You caught it in a fucking net, and the net doesn't really move. I mean, okay, it does that. But you would think if you were trying to catch something falling from
Space.
23 miles up in the air, that it would fucking be halfway to the bottom of the ocean by the time your net snapped back. But no, this thing lands like fucking nicely, and it
Yeah,
it's
because
caught
actually,
hot dog
that's a
fun.
mechanic in Valheim. The higher you jump from, the lower in the water you'll go.
Oh, of course, yeah, sure.
So
That's
yeah, I get it. Like,
yeah.
it,
Yeah. It was like
it
the first
doesn't.
time I was like, get the fuck out of here! I just didn't see that. It just didn't happen like that. There's
Right.
No way.
Yeah,
No.
gravity works a certain way, and you made me kind of just doubt that.
Yeah. And then what? Eight weeks later, he's testing the first fucking dry pad launch, dry pad dock, and you're like, get the fuck.
Oh yeah, when they landed it the first time, you're like, "Holy crap!" Because you saw the first two tumble over, and you're like, "Well, that makes sense. I mean, it's got to be hard as hell to land on that damn thing. It's moving all over the place. There's
Yeah,
no
you look
way
at
it's
the
stable. It's
legs.
in the ocean."
Yeah. And you only got 3 little legs. I mean, like if it was 2 or 4, I could see landing, but you got 3. It's a little wobbly. It's 3.
Yeah.
But
Like,
yes,
you know,
so
with
the
three
first time it
legs,
landed,
so
you're
what?
like, "Holy shit!" So all right, that worked. And like I said, for me, the belly flop, dude.
The science. And
When it
technology.
laid over and just glided and then stood back up, I just can't.
Yeah. And to land these fucking things like that is just. And then what? Wash them down with some soap, fill them back up, and they're ready to go next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, shit.
Uh,
It's fucking brilliant.
You
I
heard
mean,
about these new nose cones that they're using on Starship? They're saying what they'll have the ability to haul up and just put in space. Like, because this is
Oh,
how
yeah.
interstellar travel is supposed to happen,
Yeah.
according to Elon Musk, is we are going to build what we will use to travel in space because the limitations of solid fuel being the only way to get off the planet and being able to modify your fuel source for off planet. So that's why they want to do in space building so that they can ignore the first part of the problem in going from planet A to planet B is to have not to overcome this portion of gravity just to get to a point where you got lighter forces to deal with.
Yeah, that makes sense actually. You know, it's kind of like the opposite of the way they would do like rockets, right? Where they I guess shed parts of it as they're leaving orbit.
Yeah.
Like why not do the opposite thing and take the pieces up to orbit and then build the thing in space so that you're clearing, I guess, so that you're escaping gravity.
Yeah, that's one of the plans with Starship is to
Yeah.
start taking pieces because this thing is huge and it's
Right.
going to almost be like a city bus.
Yeah. Well, that's where the
Is
shuttle was.
essentially going to
That
be its
cargo.
usage in the long run.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
shuttle had that huge cargo bay with a fucking crane. I mean, that was brilliant. They were able to put shit out into space and build it.
Yeah, well, this is going to do
Yeah,
that
so
with the
yeah.
rocket still attached.
Yeah.
This thing has, what is it, 36 engines on Falcon Heavy.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah, they're testing they're up to what? They're doing the four motor test, and then it's 7 on the. I was just reading this. What they've been testing now with the 10 rocket was or the 9 Falcon 9 launch and the 10 was the 4 rocket system, which leads up to the big fucking bad boy they have with the 7 rockets. Their next launch is sometime in April. Second crew to the space station for SpaceX. I don't know where Bronson is with Virgin Galactic and their shit. I mean, I know they tested. What'd they test? They tested a rocket launch off the back of a plane. Some shit.
I think that was something that they had done recently.
Yeah, I think that was the last thing they did. And I know that program is moving along as expected. Their first launch is 2024, something like that, with a manned mission.
That is so exciting.
Well, space race has always been fun. I mean, none of us were really around for it in the 60s. I mean, I was just born when 3 months, 4 months after man walked on the moon. And I don't remember any of those later launches. But the entire space program, the shuttle, I mean, we all remember that. And that was a big fucking deal.
Mhm.
Every
I mean,
launch,
let's
every launch was a big deal. It was broadcast on Channel 2 around the world, CBS. Excuse me. CBS around the world.
Mhm.
Now,
It's pretty crazy to me.
now you can only watch it on the internet.
Yes. It's pretty crazy to me that we put a man on the moon in the 60s
Yeah.
and we're just getting around to all this other stuff.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And we're going to put a fucking man back on the moon.
Interest in the space race was what I highlighted earlier about
Yeah.
the story that was told to get there and all the drama and everything else about us versus the Russians and all that
Yep.
stuff that was the highlight. It was all big draw. It was a great story. Then it was over.
Yeah.
We did it. The other missions didn't quite go all the way they needed to go. You know, there was information that just wasn't what they really were. It was just more of the same. It kind of, for them, stalled out at the landing. And so from that, they kind of started trying to figure out another way. Because, like I said, if the American people aren't interested in the program, then their budget shrinks more and more and more and more. And then NASA shuts its doors. And if it wasn't for guys like Virgin and Bezos and Elon coming and being like, no, man, we love rockets. This shit is cool.
Well,
And then making the people aware again that it's cool. Rockets are cool. We need to be looking, and they've made the story good.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
this is
Elon
the
got everybody's attention when he was
podcast.
like, look, I put a car in space. Everybody's like,
Yeah.
what?
yeah. And that pretty much.
Did you hear
sealed
this
the deal
asshole's
for-
going to put a car in space?
That
What
pretty
do
much
you
sealed
think
the deal
of
for the NASA contract.
what do you think of the whole argument that that we should really focus on saving this planet before turning our sights on other planets?
Question. I get where you're going with this. I have a question. What is
Yes.
there to save on this planet? What are we
Well,
saving?
what do you mean? What are we saving?
What should we focus on to save this planet that we're not already doing? Because I've had this argument, or I don't want to say argument, discussion, and my first question will always be, what are we not doing to save this planet that we can't do other things?
Well, all right. There's a lot of things.
Like?
There's fossil fuels.
Which we are.
Yeah, which
is-
we're lessening our usage of them
Yep.
and attempting to
Right.
do that. So we're
Well,
actively
35
working on
will
the
be
problem. We're not great at it right now, but we are
Right.
actively working on the problem. You can't deny that portion.
The United
Yeah.
States is the top, the number one least polluter right now.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. We're only one country.
Hey, okay, you asked what we could do to save this planet.
Yeah,
You-
right now that's what we can do.
all of mankind, all of civilization. You said we.
Okay. I meant like.
So we need
humanity.
it. So
I didn't
okay,
just
hold on.
mean
First
America.
solution that we
Okay.
need to get out of the way, Webb. First solution we need to get out of the way in order to
Yeah.
make this work. We need a new world order, a governing body that takes care of all the nations, so that everybody's on the same page, right?
That's called United Nations, isn't it?
No, because everybody's not a member of the United Nations.
Damn it! Is that called NATO?
No, because
Damn it!
everybody's not a member of NATO either.
Okay. The only
Yeah,
person-
that's the thing, and no,
There is an
everybody's not a member of the
organization that exists that
EU,
does that.
and everybody's not
Well-
a member of whatever other organization you might want to come up with.
the only global organization is the World Bank. That's the only one.
Okay, so
only
that's a
recognized.
problem, right? We just
Yeah, but-
identified a problem.
Okay, so there's we need a world consortium that
All right,
everybody.
so the
piece-
only
Yeah.
people who got global control under wraps then is the banking system.
Wouldn't the Paris Accord, isn't that 166 countries?
But yeah, but
Out of
that's still not everybody.
197? I know.
That's not
100
everybody.
I know it's
but
197 countries.
that's
But I
still
think
not everybody, but it's most
but
developed.
nobody gives a fuck
nations.
about Mozambique. I mean, they don't even have cars. They're still fucking taking horses, so they're not polluting.
Okay, well that doesn't mean that they're not.
NASCAR don't have.
No, there's like a number of things that, like, what about
NASCAR has one zero carbon team.
right?
All right, so elimination of fossil fuels, which is something we're currently working on.
Okay,
That's-
and also the pollution of the ocean.
Okay, which we're working on. I can give you the names of 2 or 3 companies that have come up with biodegradable plastics. Therefore, we don't have to pollute our oceans with plastics.
Are
We st-
those
we
the,
still-
okay? Wait.
Still have to clean them.
So that's nice that there are companies that have come up with biodegradable plastics, but those aren't the most widely used plastics. The problem with the pollution of the oceans is single-use plastics. that are not-
Microparticulates, which
Yeah, and
unfortunately
microparticulates.
is a double issue because hold on, I'm not going
Yeah,
to
go
let
ahead.
you time out yet.
Go ahead.
Microparticulates are a problem both on and off our planet currently,
That's true.
and
Um,
almost in the same scale.
And single-use plastics, define single-use plastics.
like straws.
Not the number one polluter of the oceans. In fact,
But
it's
are
the
they
lowest-
still
Yes, David, this is
being-
live,
It's the
are-
lowest on the list.
and
What
yes, we are
about
part.
plastic cups?
The number one
Of
pollutant
retro
in the
entertainment.
ocean is Coca-Cola bottles.
Okay, what about Coca-Cola bottles?
That's the number one pollutant in the ocean. Second is well, they're not really called single use anymore, but plastic bags, garbage bags specifically, not
Plastic
Ziplocs,
bags.
plastic bags, which we are now doing away with again. Coca-Cola, they didn't sign the deal, but I know Pepsi and a few major alcohol companies, spirits, have signed deals to use the biodegradable plastic bottles and cans, and just clap your hands. So we're doing something. There's actually there's straws. I mean, there's another
Where is
company
that?
that just came out with straws for all the Dunkin' Donuts that are biodegradable, although they take 2 years to break down. There's quite a few. So plastics are being worked on also. So we've got fossil fuels, oils, which we're working on eliminating by 20 35 for the car industry. We'll never do away with fossil fuel as much as any politician will want you to believe, because if the world is going to run on electric, you tell me, how do you make electricity without fossil fuel? And I will gladly listen.
What about overfishing and the disruption of marine life?
We have environmental control policies in place to help regulate that and help to try and better that system too.
Yes.
Yeah, but
what
there-
else
that
can
hasn't
what
solved
else
the
can we
issue.
do but continue the programs we have and make them better
The problem
in
with
order
that,
to save this planet? That's outside of that, like it, even with an escalated focus on all of these things that you're mentioning. It's
yeah, but she brings up good points on this one, because this is a problem.
Well, yes, but it's also not going to solve
But it's not a United States
it's
problem.
not going to solve the issue that gravitational pull is going to eventually throw our planet out of whack. So that's a problem that we know that we have to deal with. Asteroids are a thing that, at this point, if we don't get a greater understanding of how space works and our ability to work within outer space, then we're not going to be able to actually divert any of these asteroids that may come towards the planet. The ability to save this planet is going to come from outside of this planet in order to eventually avoid all the catastrophes except for the eventual one day of our sun consuming it.
Yeah, but that's like millions
Okay.
of years.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
these
So
are
is climate
but
change.
Like-
but what
Funny
if people are
part
still
about stuff.
around when that happens? That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Like,
the reason
you
I
want to
bring
talk
up
about the
the fact-
longevity of a project and how to do it and saving the planet forever is the idea at this point, right? Because are we
Yeah.
only saving it until people decide to go extinct?
Well, yeah, but I think thinking about whether when the sun eventually goes supernova a couple of million years
30
from
billion
now
years from now. Right?
versus
Yeah,
the
but would you
damage that we're actively doing to the planet, which would affect literally the next generation. Like, we're
Right.
not talking millions of years, we're talking a decade or two.
right?
Okay, I don't know if I agree with a decade or two, but I get your point. I mean, look, this whole global climate change, personally, it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
The what?
The whole idea of climate change is bullshit.
Oh, it's not.
It's absolute bullshit. It happens every 10,000 years, and the last time we had climate change was, what, 40 fucking million years ago when we had the Ice Age.
That's true, but
But
the
it happens
research, which I'm
naturally.
happy to share with you,
No, no, no.
shows that
No,
the rate at which the planet is heating up over the last 50 years
it's the
has
same as it was
accelerated.
30,000 years ago when the planet heated up and caused the fucking polar. You got to remember this. This fucking planet flipped its own magnetic polar ends not once,
It
but
did,
twice.
but the planet,
what
like
happened? It
the
wiped out
planet.
Twice.
Listen, the planet is not doing that by itself. In this case, humans
wait a
are doing the things that are causing the planet to heat up. Like all the things we just talked about.
When the magnetic poles flipped itself in 462,000 BC, there were no people.
I'm
It
not
was-
talking about naturally occurring events that we have no control over. I'm talking about the events that we are directly having an impact on, which are causing climate change.
Right,
climate
which we are
change-
actively working on a way to not be as majorly impacted.
Yeah, the Paris Accord, the standing behind the Paris Accord is to stop the world from changing by 2 to 3 degrees Celsius. That's never happened in the history of the planet, ever, that we know of scientifically. With the
The
1
Paris,
billion years that we can go backwards, the planet has never heated up more than 0.9 degrees Celsius. Ever. Ever. You can look it up.
okay, well, I can show you the research that actually shows that the rate at which climate has changed over the last 50 or so years, beginning with the Industrial Revolution, is actually
Pollutants.
quite.
Yes, but
Yeah,
we know that's
exactly.
the problem.
That's what I'm talking about.
And
I'm
we
not
know
talking
Bye, y'all.
about like
we've
where are
already.
you
Yeah,
going?
yeah, we gotta put our-
I'm a member of the safety community at work. I'm going to fix first
got-
aid kits.
He's got to put on his
I do it
safety
every night now.
goggles and do
Yep.
his thing.
My job is consuming my life.
I mean, I'm not going to say climate change is not 100% real, but I think it's blown way out of fucking proportion, and I think other things need to be looked upon than spending $100 billion to join the Paris Accord.
I think that's one thing we can do. I think that joining a club of people who want to make changes is not as impactful. I think I'm a lot more interested in
Jeez.
what we would actually do in order to keep the things that are demonstrably happening from continuing to happen.
Stop with the chlorofarbons. Stop with the fucking PFOEs. Stop with all the chemical compounds that we now know and have known, but wanted to sell to people that have fucked up the landfills, which in turn fucks up the environment. It's real simple.
Yeah.
8-Bit Bros Tuesday. That's an early edition. We'll be here for Thursday. I'm hoping.
Get ready for an early edition.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have some talks and switch some times around, and we gotta move. We gotta move.
Making a move.
We gotta move to 7 and 9. It's happening
Yeah, that would be nice. I
happening
think.
real soon. Yeah. All right, 8-Bit Bros on this fine Tuesday of beginning of March. 2 weeks from now will be 1 year of lockdown. Have fun with that. We're out.
Fun.
Oh, did it again.
Hold on.